Buda has often been called Austin's best suburb. If you're thinking of moving to Buda, here are the neighborhoods you need to know. I'm Lindsey Keller with Seven Springs Real Estate. We are in downtown Buda today because it seemed like the best spot to tell you about Buda. We just did a video about how there's a lot of people moving from inside the city of Austin into the suburbs, and so Buda has come on the radar because, again, it might be Austin's best suburb. It's just south of Austin, the closest neighbor on the south side. So if you're thinking about doing that, or if you're thinking about moving to this area and looking at not only Austin, but also some of the areas right around Austin, these are the neighborhoods that are most often on our clients' radars and the neighborhoods we get the most questions about. And two that you might not have heard about, but you should. Okay, we're gonna start with Sunfield. I get the most questions about Sunfield. It's really well known, really popular, huge master plan community on the northeast side of Buda. For a long time, it was the northernmost community. Now we've got one further that we'll tell you about in a minute. But it's still right off 35, which means it's in very close proximity to Austin. So there's a lot of commuters that move into Sunfield. Sunfield is famous for its amenities. It has a lazy river, like you see at water parks, built right into the community. A second lazy river is on the way. It has everything. If you're looking for amenities, I think Sunfield is the best neighborhood in Buda. The trade-off of that is that you have a higher property tax rate in Sunfield than you do in most other neighborhoods. So you're actually outside the city of Buda, but you don't pay Buda city taxes, but you pay utility district taxes, and it ends up being a higher rate. There's also an elementary school built into the neighborhood called Sunfield Elementary. It's brand new, but I'm hearing great things. All right, I would say the neighborhood I get the second most questions about is Leisure Woods. Leisure Woods is on the opposite side of Buda, on the northwest side. It's older, it's more established. You're looking at like a half-acre lot size. A lot of them don't have fences. It has big trees. It kind of feels like you're walking back in time, so people love that. It's also very close to the Mopac extension for easy commuting into Austin. It's low taxes. There's an HOA in there, but it's optional. So if you pay into the HOA, you get access to the tennis courts and the pool. If you don't want those things, most sections of the community, you don't have to pay into the HOA. It's also zoned for really highly rated schools. All right, next in popularity, I would say, is a neighborhood called Whispering Hollow. Whispering Hollow is another master plan community like Sunfield, and it's definitely built for families. The floor plans are large. There are fantastic amenities. It's right next to some very highly rated schools. In fact, Elm Grove Elementary is like built into the neighborhood of Whispering Hollow. You do pay city taxes in there, but the tax rate is not terribly high, and you've got some trade-offs with amenities. Elliot Ranch is another neighborhood I get a lot of questions from people who maybe have $1 million to spend but can't get very far with $1 million in Austin. You can get acreage lots in Elliot Ranch, very high quality built homes, and often you can get a big floor plan that's single story. So a lot of people really like that. Elliot Ranch is on the far, far northwest corner of Buda. So again, easy to get onto the Mopac extension to get into Austin. Very low property tax rates. You're outside the city, so you have septic systems out there. And there's not a neighborhood pool. There's not a lot of community amenities, but a lot of people out there have their own pools, their own sports courts. It's just a very spread out, high end. Probably the nicest homes in Buda are in Elliot Ranch. Okay, a sister neighborhood to Elliot Ranch is Ruby Ranch, which is another huge favorite. Ruby Ranch is a little bit further south than Elliot Ranch, and so it tends to be, I'd say, a little bit less expensive, but you still have that same very spread out feel with acreage lots, low taxes, septic systems, very nature-centric feeling with, houses that are situated to look onto a pasture with lots of trees and a lot of deers?
Wildflowers.
A lot of deer running around, wildflowers. It feels very much like you're in the country. Just a really calm, peaceful place to live. Another very popular neighborhood is White Oak Preserve. White Oak Preserve is also west of 35, and it's right nestled onto the side of 967. So from 967, if you head east, you can get to downtown Buda, where we are now, pretty quickly and easily. And that's a big draw because Buda has some great restaurants and bars, even live music now that you can get to easily. And it's called White Oak Preserve because they actually preserved oaks when they went in there. So it's named well for good reason. So when you drive in, it's new, but it still has these huge oak trees dotted through the community that just give it like this charming, almost deep south feel. That's different than a lot of the newer neighborhoods. It just is more shady, and I don't know, those big trees give you a peaceful feeling for some reason. So also good schools, also great amenities, and it has a trail system on the back end of the neighborhood that connects into like all the neighborhoods that are right there. So Elm Grove, Whispering Hollow, Garlic Creek, they all kind of share these trails. So you can kind of go on the back roads from one neighborhood to the other, which a lot of people really like. All right, now let's talk about two neighborhoods that clients don't usually come and ask me about, but I end up wanting them to see during their search. One of them is called Turner's Crossing. This is the one I mentioned earlier. There's now a neighborhood that's north of Sunfield on the east side. It's Turner's Crossing. It's brand new. They're still building in there, and you have some really good views from a lot of the home sites. It's built kind of into a hill, and that side of Austin is flatter. So if you get the right house, you can see for a long way out your house windows, which is not always common in master planned communities. The lot sizes are small because it's new. It is a fairly high price point because it's the closest neighborhood to Austin. And in fact, it's actually in Travis County. So people think of all of Buda as being in Hayes County. This neighborhood has a Buda mailing address and goes to Buda Hayes CISD schools, but it's in Travis County. So it's a kind of a weird little in-between. Good amenities and much lower tax rate than Sunfield. I mean, you can't touch Sunfield's amenities, but they're okay in Turner's Crossing, and it's definitely one to consider. Okay, the last neighborhood is one you should definitely keep on your radar. It's one of my very favorites in Buda. It's called Cullen Country. Not new, very well established, really big trees, and just a very quiet, peaceful feel. I actually had some clients that we had looked at several different neighborhoods, and then we pulled into Cullen Country, and they told me that the husband said to the wife, now this is a neighborhood. And I think it's because it's a neighborhood that sort of feels like the neighborhood maybe you grew up in. It just, I know that's subjective, but it's just got a feel about it. It's zoned for really good schools. It's located right off 967. So again, easy to get in and out of Buda for Main Street and shopping. It's got some amenities, no pool, but it does have a good trail system, playground, things like that. So if you're looking in Buda, you should at least just drive through Cullen Country and see if you like the feel. That's all we've got for you today. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any comments about what we said, or you think we missed something important, please let us know. Drop a comment and we'll respond to you as quickly as we can. Love to hear from you anytime. Please like and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time.